It seems like across the internet, the consensus on PO'd is clear. Only a dozen people have ever played it, and I think only two of us actually like it. No, but seriously, the general vibe of this game is either gross out humor or lol random, but in the 90s, the late 90s. So that mostly equates to, again, poor lit humor. Look, we all know this game is about a chef in space who kills aliens with ass faces and prolapsed anuses for tails. They're so cute. And I think the game failed not because it was gross. It's honestly very tame. It's not gross by today's standards, that's for sure. Rather, I think the game failed because of its lack of a cohesive identity. And listen, I get it. It's funny that the game's premise is a chef that kills aliens in the style of a boomer shooter, but that premise could have helped the OG development team find a focus for their vision, for the gameplay. Here's what I mean. The game is all about the jetpack. It's a fun game, I believe, because the jetpack allows you to explore at your own pace and explore the levels in any order, you know. But what does a jetpack have to do with being a chef? Nothing. But I'd argue the jetpack angle is more fun than the chef angle. The jetpack is so fun it has to stay as a mechanic. It is so unique and adds so much to the game, including the combat and exploration. Whereas being a chef means you get a frying pan, which is a terrible melee weapon, and you get the throwing knife, which is another terrible throwing weapon. Ultimately, you get two terrible weapons, and two of the enemy types in the game drop health when they die if you walk over the bodies, and it's implied that you're eating your enemy's remains. That's all that comes with being a chef. So it's really just sort of this tacked on gimmick to make it like, lol, it's a chef in space, how random. So the setting and mechanics don't match. But that doesn't make the game terrible, and it doesn't really hold it back. Now, if we take a look at the level designs and go over the game's actual design and philosophy, then we'll see where things start to get very strange. Not just the art direction and it being a little random ahead of its time, but the actual game design is like no other boomer shooter, at least from a professional that I've ever played. But first, let's take a look at the weapons. The only weapons I don't fuck with are the marbled frying pan and the throwing cleavers. You'll see why. The plasma pistol is hit scan. You'll find it by the second level, and it's the game's shotgun, meaning it's reliable for half the game, really most of the game actually. Mostly due to its hit scan nature, which is the only way on this game's green engine to kill flyers. The flamethrower is strong against any flesh flows. Any flesh flows? The flamethrower is strong against any flesh foes, but too short for flyers. So you can't really use it for anything. Wait, and it shares fuel with the jetpack? Ick. Okay, Meat Seeker is fun. It is a bouncy bullet gun, but the bullets will fuck you up too if you're not careful. And the projectiles move too slow for long range, and it does 0 damage to turrets and spider bots. God, fuck this thing. Okay, these are the good guns. Plasma rifle, rocket gun, camera missile, the Uzi, and the drill. So the plasma rifle is a better plasma pistol, except for not exactly. It's stronger and it fires faster. The projectiles move really quick, but it's not hit scan, that's the thing. Both the plasma pistol and the rifle use batteries, so you kind of have to pick and choose your battles. I'll be honest with you, when it gets to a certain point, I don't really use the plasma pistol even for its hit scan, because you'll see that the Uzi, the automatic like SMG, that's hit scan as well, and that's probably your best bet for killing flyers. Another thing is, killing the flying enemies in this game is never going to be really easy or fun. It's always going to be a nuisance, so that sucks. I don't feel like I need to say this about the rocket launchers, but the two different types of rocket launchers both use rockets. Alright, that's enough time saying rockets. So one rocket launcher will fire one rocket at a time. It's a camera missile. What that means is the player controls the camera. You know what this looks like if you've ever played 007 split screen. The camera missile is my favorite gun in the game. It has this dope animation when you ready the weapon, And when you're firing the rocket and flying it around, you can actually turn around and see Ox. Oh yeah, your name is Ox, like the animal with huge balls. The other rocket launcher in this game is just straight up a fucking automatic machine gun. It's a rifle that fires rockets instead of bullets. It's great. But in this game, pretty much all of the weapons have projectiles with a travel time. The maps are huge, the enemies are tiny, they move extremely quickly, and so do you. So sometimes just landing your shots feels like a fucking miracle, even with all of the auto aim and aim assist. The drill is my second favorite weapon in the game, and it's not even an ranged weapon. So since it can save the player ammo, it adds a risk-reward dynamic, which is fantastic. Now with the drill, obviously, it's just the chainsaw from Doom. You run up, you drill an enemy, they get stuck in place, and you do that till they die. Now the drill is weak against some enemies, especially the robots, but the enemies it's strong against, if it's a 1v1, you always whip out the drill. Same thing how in Doom, if you have the skill, you always pull out the chainsaw to save ammo. However, in this game, when you're drilling somebody, you're getting blood on your screen. And sometimes if you got 2 or 3 enemies, you might want to drill, and your screen gets covered in blood, to the point where it actually does become a little hard to see. If you let go of the trigger and stop attacking and stop firing the drill, Ox will take his other hand and wipe the blood off the screen, which is so funny and so charming. It's one of those little things that I love about this game. And it really reminds me of Metro, which, you know, did not come out for like another 2 decades after this game. Okay, so for the end of the video and for the end of the talk on this game, I just want to show you the levels. That is going to be the easiest way to talk about how weird their design philosophy is. You'll see, for example, that they don't really put enemies in your way to stop you. They'll just take a giant box and then they'll add a bunch of rooms to it. They will fill up the entire box and all the rooms with enemies everywhere to an obnoxious degree, till there's too many enemies, where you're just getting peppered with damage from all sides. Then what the game designers do is they'll normally put something that they want you to do, but they don't tell you. In one level it might be opening up or going into 2 different rooms, but you don't get any sound cue. When you open both doors, there's not a da-da-da-da, there's not a message on your screen that says a door has opened or something has shifted. You don't get clues and stuff like that very often. When you do get a little sound cue, I'll point it out to you and show when the game tries to help you. But let's take a look at just the first few levels so that new players, if you're looking at this game, if you're interested in picking it up, you can tell if the beginning of the game is going to turn you off right away or not. Okay, this intro area to the game is just so you can get your feet. The enemies are easy, the weapon is just the frying pan. You can find a knife here in the storage area, but this beginning area is really just a storage area to explore, and then the exit. There's 3 acts to the game. When you first start off, you're going to enter a green portal here. It's the only one that's available, and you're going to start Act 1. Pretty normal, simple stuff, nothing weird, nothing crazy yet. Now, what I'm showing you guys right here is the second level of the whole game. You saw the first level get played out, and now this is what's very next. This is the very next episode. As a new player, you're like, what the fuck? I am in this giant room, they dropped me in a corner. As you can see here, I know where you can find a gun early. But getting that gun early means standing on a hazardous floor and taking guaranteed damage. The only way to progress is to find ladders, which are paper thin, and recognize them as ladders. Now, we're always trying to get to the green portal, but we can't. If we go for it straight now, we'll be missing out on our jetpack. This whole game is about the jetpack, and for some reason, it's a secret. It's always in a secret. If you're going to find it at some point, level 2 right here is the soonest you can get it. I actually found this on my first playthrough. Surprisingly, a lot of secrets and the way forward were not too hard for me to find. I only ever needed a guide once in this game. But you can start to get a taste for like, okay, what is this level? It's a giant box with enemies all over that are sniping me. I can't see where I'm supposed to go. It's so disorienting and unnerving. And look, at the end of the game, they expect you to go through this like little trap where you dodge bullets, but if you have the jetpack, you just fly around it. It's so bizarre. At the end of the mission, everyone, they will tell you how many you killed, how long it took you, and give you a password, because this is originally a PlayStation game. But none of those stats really matter as far as I'm concerned. And as we're taking a look right now, you'll see that I'm playing this level again, trying to get through it as quickly as possible. And look how little you have to interact with. I don't have to really kill any of the enemies. And sure, you could say that with most boomer shooters, if you know what you're doing, you don't have to kill all of the enemies. You usually don't have to kill most of them. But you do have to kill some of them. There will be enemies in normal boomer shooters that are in your way that you cannot get past, or that are going to fuck up your day so much that it's worth killing them. In this game, it's like they fill up a box with enemies and they kind of just expect the enemies to whittle you down while you're exploring. It's almost like you run around a maze while people are like pelting you with rotten fruit. You know, you're not really in danger from dying by the people throwing shit at you, but you're getting worn down psychologically as you go on these big giant maps that make no fucking sense, that have no logic. The triggers make no sense. So look, we did that mission again with one monster kill, less than a minute. Yeah, it's very bizarre level design. This next level, the third one, I'm not even going to talk about. But you can see how it starts you off at the top of a pyramid, surrounded by rooms full of monsters, and they're just like, deal with it. How can I even move around and dodge things? I really think the best way to play this game is on normal. And if you want to play it your first time and it's kind of crazy, put it on easy. There is no shame. This game's not designed so well that you should feel like you suck because you have to play on easy. It's not one of those games. Let's take a look at one more level, maybe a few more examples too. Okay, this is actually a great level. The very next one is called the Core, and as you can see, it is a huge, tall, spiraling level. My only gripe with this level is it's the beginning of many trends in this game. The first trend is the fact that the level is huge, and it makes great use of your jetpack to explore. When you're in the Core, there's all these different floors that you can fly up to. And so you want to explore them all with your jetpack. Now remember, jetpack fuel is limited. You have plenty, but still, you can run out. It is possible. What I like about this level is just that it's the first time where you've got the jetpack and you really feel like, oh, let's go over there. Let's go check this out. Let's go down. Oh, I saw something earlier. Let's see if I opened it, right? But some more trends that they have in here, too many enemies. You can see right now that there's a room full of turrets that is just no fun. Secondly, it's hard to even know that you could fly up at the beginning of the level because the top of the level is obscured by a force field. It's not something you can't fly through, but it looks like the ceiling. So without any prior knowledge, how are you supposed to know to fly through the ceiling? I don't know. I think I just got lucky when I first played. Stuff like that happens a lot in this game. Invisible walls, shit like that, it's not cool. It's not fun. In fact, let's take a look at an example where the only way to progress is by going through an invisible wall. Look no further than the second mission for some major BS. By the end of this mission, you're going to be slamming your head against the wall because it's full of dead ends until you realize there's a hidden room on your map. There's some magic music playing right here, and just fucking walk through the wall. That's all you have to do, but there's no hints except for the music that plays nearby. So good luck remembering that you have a map button, if you even know, since the game hasn't taught that to you. Next you move on to, I believe the fourth mission is Shuttle, which is one of my favorite missions in the game. I don't know why. It's just quintessential PO level. Big, confusing, not laid out correctly. When you go to the top of the first room, there's an enemy here that I believe inspired an enemy in Zorch, one of my favorite FPS games of all time. He splits up and multiplies when you kill him. After you kill him, you reach the end of a hallway here, which is a dead end, so you turn around to see where else you should go. Maybe there's a trigger or a switch or something that you missed. So you go back to the first room and you find some buttons that open doors to these rooms that I'm in right now. And these rooms are full of ammo, but no secret weapons or anything, so go back to the dead end and you realize, oh, there's actually a fucking secret room behind this wall. So you press the action button this time to open it up. This will teleport you to an area with a ship, and if you keep traveling, you'll find a second ship at the end of the level, at the end of the journey, at the final destination. Yet for some reason, this final area has nothing in it. It has a bunch of rooms full of enemies. It's almost like the enemies are collectibles. It's almost like, yeah, you can end the level. The game will start with 3 rooms, and in the very first room, the first thing you see is the exit. But if you want to kill all the enemies, you have to go to room 2 and 3 for some reason. Here's the exit for this level, behind another secret. It's actually behind 2 more secret doors, right after you teleport. How strange is that? Here's a level where one of the teleports you have to go through is a texture on the wall that's slightly different. And if you didn't think that was bad, here's a worse version of it. As much as I love this game, finding out where to go is the main focus. That's the main puzzle. And if you don't enjoy that, you're not going to have fun. I don't know what to say about this game. I really enjoyed it. I can say that there were some memorable moments like this part here where you have to pull out the teeth, poke the nose and the eyes of this head to get it to open up. This game has so much charm, so much charisma, and they're actually so talented when it comes to things like the combat and the level design that, you know, you kind of overlook moments like this where you're flying around in a box just swatting at flies, and it's basically brain dead. This game will swap between challenging you to use your medulla oblongata and to remember where you've been. It's a puzzle when it comes to exploration. It's bizarre. You can spawn right next to the exit and leave right away, or you could explore the whole level and find nothing. There are some good upgrades, you know, increase your max health, increase your max ammo capacity, and because this whole game is like one main playthrough, you do feel like you're building your character uniquely depending on what you find. Like in this playthrough I had 2 health upgrades and 1 ammo upgrade, so I was pretty powerful. Overall, I have to say, this game was a very positive experience. I am so glad I played PO'd because it was like nothing else I've ever played. And I get the same sort of experience day in and day out, especially with modern titles, even indie games. And it makes sense, you gotta play it safe. At the time, I feel like when this came out, it was trying to be an edgy parody, and it's so funny how things that are edgy 2 or 3 decades ago come around today and they have like no tooth, no bite. This game's edgiest joke is that you can turn on like a flatulence noise so enemies fart at you. It's very tame. But despite all of it, it's so earnest, and I think that that's what makes it so fun to me. Like, sure, the levels are huge, probably bigger than they need to be, but for some reason, every time I play this game, I always play it for about 2 hours at least, because I just have so much fun. There's always new secrets to find, and they're the weirdest secrets ever. This game really challenges you to look at first-person levels in a way that nobody probably should look at first-person levels, because you're looking for secrets that, you know, are terrible. It's almost, in a weird sense, a deconstruction of what it means to be a boomer shooter level. It does almost everything wrong, and yet I still had a killer time. It was fun. It was fun as fuck. And there's actually a point here in this, in the credits, where one of the producers, or one of the lead programmers, Samuel Villarreal, I believe, or Villarreal, he says that he really enjoys this game. And you know what, man? You and me both. I think we're the 2 out of 12 people that played this game that actually find it fun. So, if it looks interesting to you, definitely pick it up and give it a shot, because this game is special. You should go into it expecting that you're gonna get lost, but I'll try to put out some videos on the hardest levels to help you guys out, especially since I haven't seen a lot of guides for this game. Thank you so much for watching.